Hello friends, today we're going to be doing something a little bit different than what we do normally on the channel. I'm going to demonstrate my lack of mastery on the piano to make some points about learning music efficiently and how that can speed up your learning process for any piece on the ukulele or any instrument for that matter. Originally, I was recording this video as a job shadow in my Ukulele Fingerstyle Pro course, which is coming up very soon, but then I thought I could share it with my 1,400 plus student base in the academy and my patrons, and then I thought, why not share it with everybody? If this knowledge helps you in one way or another, then that brings me joy and hopefully persuade you in joining the academy. So the idea behind this video of doing it on the piano is I wanted to demonstrate how I can take my phase one of the learning process, which is really the preparatory steps, and how if you can apply those steps to your pieces, you can learn them much faster. The thing is, if I do that on the ukulele, I'm already a pro at playing it, so I can't really demonstrate all the failures you might go through in this process and how it is okay to just accept them and go through the process step by step. All right, so with that out of the way, in phase one, in the preparatory step, I walk you through how when you look at a score for the first time, there are certain things you can do that will make your learning process efficient. So I divide the learning process into three different stages: the preparatory stage, the learning stage, and the polishing / performing stage. And their titles should tell you about what you're doing in each one of those stages. So here I'm looking at a piece called Sonatina in C major by Clementi. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the period, and it's 1752 to 1832. So I'm thinking that's middle to late classical going into the Romantic period. It's a grade 3 piano piece, and it's the first movement on a sonatina, so that's like a small sonata. So I know it's going to be lively, potentially fast. It's in C major, so I know that the first movement will be major. Potentially the second movement is in the minor key, and the third movement is in the major key as well. So already I have an idea about what the piece should sound like. It's going to be lively, it's going to be happy in a major key, but also I'm looking for straight rhythms, not a lot of syncopations. So it's going to be, for the most part, a balanced piece. Now, this is a piano, so I know there's going to be a right hand and a left hand. There's no sense in playing this piece with both hands on. And this is what I encourage my students when they play fingerstyle music, where you have separation of layers in the tabs. The up stems are melody and the down steps are your accompaniment / bass line. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to play just the melody. Notice how when I play the melody, I'm going to be following the fingerings indicated on the score. Now, when I'm reading the melody, I'm keeping track of any weird fingerings, and I'm keeping track of my phrasing. So I'm going to walk you through the first 4 bars, and I'm going to do that for the next phrases as well. So I'm already noticing that I'm going through a C major triad. That's what's helping me read this fast, is that I know it's a C major triad. I'm just playing C, E, and G. All I have to know is the rhythm and the order. Again, this is a classical piece, straight up rhythms. 1, 2, and 3, 4. That's how the first 2 bars contrast with each other. There's the leap to the higher G, and then the contrast of the first 2 bars, it's a scale, and that's the end of the first big phrase. What I'm noticing here is that when I go to the high G, then I have a scale run that starts on my 4th finger, second finger for the piano, and then the 4th finger, on the piano, that's the 5th finger, hitting the D, ending on the dominant. That's what my mind is thinking. Now, all I'm doing here is I'm just breaking the phrase into flag posts that I can rely on to remember what's happening, which reduces the strain when I read the music in real time. Moving on is the contrasting phrase. That's the difference. I'm leaping to the E. So already I'm noticing that there's a pattern. So I'm gonna make a mental note that this is actually hard, and it was hard for me the first time I read it, so I'm gonna have to practice just this pattern. And then there's a scale run. Noticing that my fingers have to switch with the thumb on the C. There's this sharp, and then there's the leap. I'm making a mental note of all of that as I am learning the melody by itself. I'm registering in my mind that that's a sequence, right? You have the happens again, but a note up. And then I'm looking for what happens next. You go on D, and then you have a triad, a G major triad. That's the G major triad, and then a descending scale. That's not right. Fourth finger, fifth finger. Yeah, and that's my last cadence. So now I'm gonna practice my melody. I'm gonna know what the melody sounds like, and then I'm gonna repeat the same process, but for my left hand. Notice how I'm using theory a lot in helping me give a meaning and shape to the melody and the bass line. Now, you might not know your music theory, and in the Ukulele Fingerstyle Pro, I say that theory helps a lot, but it's not mandatory. What I'm really doing here is I'm creating patterns. Those patterns help me understand the music, understand the accompaniment on their own, and then make sense of them when I put them together. This idea of understanding what I'm doing will mean I will get lost less when I start actually thinking about the technique and the fingerings and the rhythm and the speed and the phrasing and all that stuff. If I know where I am, I can then think about what I want to do, and I find that most students, they just start playing right away without having any clue as to what phrase they're playing, what their rhythms are, or worst, where the melody is. And the most cardinal sin that they do is they play a piece from start to finish every time they learn, practice, or perform the piece, which means the first 2 bars will sound excellent and bar 5 onwards will suck. So by doing this process, I am forcing myself to think about different patterns, different exercises, different spots where there are problems. I am marking them with a pen. Right now I'm doing it mentally, but I'm marking them with a pen or a pencil so that I can practice them in my stage 2 or phase 2, which is the learning process. Now, already I have done a couple of things. I have isolated the melody, I have identified my phrasings, I understand where the difficult fingerings are, I have looked at the period, I have looked at the composer, and I've put all this information together to help me kind of contextualize this process. Now, in my course, I also say this is the great spot to actually research what sonatina means. Now, I know what a sonatina means, so I'm not going to do that, but now is the time to just go on Wikipedia or Google and just say, what does sonatina mean? And in case you don't know what in C major means, now is the time to research that as well. Heck, if you want to nerd out, you can even use this chance to learn the C major scale, which is what I teach in my course, Ukulele Scales Pro. And instead of learning your scales blindly, now is the time to say, I'm learning a sonatina in C major. Now is the time to learn the C major scale. But because you're doing it in context, it will give you meaning and purpose rather than just learning it blindly. Now, piano pedagogy focuses on scales a lot, so you will be doing a lot of scales drills, but for the ukulele or the guitar even, as an adult who is busy with life and kids, you could be spending a lot of minutes learning scales, or you could just do them the way I just did, which is learning them in context. I already know my C major scale, so I'm going to skip the step. The next thing you can do is you can look at other people's performances of the sonatina in C major. If you're lucky, you might find a professional performer performing this piece. This is a grade 3, so it's quite easy. I'm not so familiar with the piano content creation world, so I don't know if we will be able to find it, but it'll be a good exercise to just go on YouTube, search Sonatina in C major by Clementi, see what comes up, listen to the different interpretations, and here's the key word, which is what we do together in Ukulele Fingerstyle Pro, is we would compare those performances together, and I would point out what you should be listening for. Now, I know how to do that for the ukulele and the guitar. I don't know how to do that for the piano, but it'll be an interesting process for me to go through this as well. Once you've done all that, it is time to just sit together and try to put it together. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to perform it for you at my total beginner level. Remember, this is phase 1. I haven't started actually learning the first page. All I have is a few ideas about what it's supposed to sound like, but I'm doing that on purpose to show you what a phase 1 playing should sound like, what are some of the mental notes you will be making, and how you're going to progress from phase 1 into phase 2, which is the learning process. And hopefully that gives you some inspiration to watch a pro completely humiliate himself in public. Which brings me to sort of the last golden nugget that I can give you in this tutorial, which is something I tell to all my private students, patrons, people in my monthly workshops, or students. when you perform or record and you want to share that with the public, do not start your videos by apologizing for your horrible performance, because there's a good chance that it is not horrible. It is only horrible in your own mind. And if you start your videos by diminishing your efforts and your progress, and instead of celebrating what you've done, just being shy or being conservative or being apologetic, it could ruin the experience for whoever's listening to you. So here goes a sonatina in C major by a master's in ukulele performance, but a total noob on the piano. Let's give it a shot. So I'm setting up my fingers and I'm going to try to walk those ideas, the arpeggio, the scales, and all that. So hopefully this video have given you some inspiration, some ideas as to what to do in your learning phase, and hopefully it will give you some roadblocks to doing the one thing you shouldn't do when you get a new tab or a music sheet, which is just playing the first bar and seeing how far you can go and then doing that on repeat, hoping that the piece is going to get better. Some of the worst advice I've seen on the internet given to beginner students is the practice, practice, practice quote, which does more harm than a benefit. I always like to say practice once, think about it, and then enforce it. Again, my name is Mustafa. This is MK Fingerstyle Academy if you're new to the channel. Ukulele Fingerstyle Pro is a course that I am so excited about. It is for intermediate to advanced students. It's the biggest course ever, and it's what's going to come up after my basics course, which has already been out there in the wilds for about 5 years now. We have over 1,400 students. If you're interested in Ukulele Fingerstyle Pro, check out the link in the video description. Either you can sign up for notifications if you're watching this before launch, or if you're watching this after launch, you will be able to join us. Until then, why don't we have a tutorial about ukulele? Click here for this awesome beginner ukulele tutorial, and I'll see you in the next video.